Welcome to the Motley Fool's Crunchtime series, where we scout out a single company from the story to the opportunities and risks. Time to take a closer look at Intel. First, my prediction. I actually do see a path to Intel beating the market over the next 5 years, but it must thread not one, but two needles to do it. Let's take a closer look. Intel's long-term strategy has been to provide its customers with a fully integrated offering as the designer and the manufacturer of its chips. For much of the past 4 decades, Intel was the dominant manufacturer of semiconductors, commanding the market for PCs and servers from the 1980s through the 2010s with its x86 architecture. The company has a long history of innovation across both design and process and has spent significant sums on R&D. But along with its success in PCs, it has had some notable massive misses along the way. This includes failing to establish a competitive position in smartphones and tablets over the past 15 years, more recently failing as a viable competitor for artificial intelligence. The irony for Intel is that there's massive opportunity right now for growth in the semiconductor industry, but the company lost its way so badly that the opportunity for investors is almost entirely tied to its ability to just stabilize a broken strategy, find a way forward in a vastly changed computing world. In recent years, it has dealt with a weak PC market, lost share in servers, and been utterly left in the dust of the explosive growth of demand for chips for AI applications. Pat Gelsinger, who spent 3 decades at Intel during its best years, was brought back to the company to turn it around in early 2021, but was just pushed out in late 2024 as the company's attempts to turn its core business around while also standing up a foundry business struggled to deliver results as quickly as investors expected. Today, Intel has 2 long-tenured executives acting as interim co-CEOs while the board works to find a permanent replacement. Now, for now, it's sticking to the direction that Gelsinger put the company on. That's the hardest path, but it's the one that has the most potential to return Intel to its prior status as one of the giants in the industry. Let's talk risks. We talked about it last week with Dollar General. Turnarounds are incredibly hard, and Intel's in particular is one of the most difficult that you're going to find. At the core, what Intel must do is cut the performance gap between its best process technology and that of competitors like TSMC. There are high hopes that's beginning to happen with its 18A process, which will see commercial production later this year. The core behind cutting that performance gap is reestablishing viability, growing volumes in its manufacturing, which should help ramp up cash flows. Next, it must convince fabless semiconductor companies that its foundry business and its x86 architecture are viable choices versus TSMC. Before we can even talk about AI and the next generation of GPUs that it's developing, the company has to stabilize its existing business, regain customers that it's lost, and gain customers for its foundry business in order to see some return on the massive investments it's made there. Oh, and did we mention the company still doesn't have a permanent CEO? Yeah, that's a risk too. I do think that there is a compelling case that Intel can beat the market over the next 5 years. Now, the stock price can continue falling, and it will if the results continue to deteriorate, but I think at this point there's very little optimism priced in the stock, even with signs that its 18A chips represent a massive leap forward that should lead to that increased volume to drive better profits from its manufacturing business. I also think there are favorable political factors too that should help Intel. There are clear national security interests supporting a healthy US-based semiconductor company that actually manufactures leading-edge chips. But this entire thing pivots on its ability to actually get back to being at the leading edge, and therein lies the biggest risk. Okay, let's wrap this up. At The Motley Fool, your comments make us all smarter. Please share your own research and insights about Intel and tell us in the comments below what stock you want to see us tackle next. Go to fool.com/invest to receive the top 10 best stocks to buy now.